GT5 podcast coming to another episode. It's been a minute. Took a little break. Life be happening sometime. I'm gonna give a shout out to the Bridge Church. I'm using their cup today. I lost the lid to one of my Vibe cups, so I'm using this cup here uh, for my water today as I get through the pound through some of these episodes. Also, like to thank everybody that's been rocking with me. Took a little bit of a break, had some life things happen. Had to focus on family, kids, things like that. Um, but back rocking, we were also sick. Like everybody got all the sickness that you could possibly have. I mean, you name it, we had it. Freaking stomach, flu, COVID, whatever else was out there, we had it all. So it's kind of been a little bit of a rocky December into January, but we're gonna get back to it. We're gonna keep it pushing. Today, I'm gonna talk real briefly, real quickly. A lot of people talk about why the Lord command or Paul wrote um, that husbands need to love their wives and then wives need to respect their husbands. Um, and I'm gonna give you a quick take on it. So essentially, when you think about love, when it comes to men, love is hard for men, right? Love takes work because it's more nurturing, it's more caring, it's more thoughtful. It's a lot of action that goes into loving somebody. Women are good at love, right? Women are way better at love than we are, especially the whole nurturing part. And so for men, basically what he's saying is you have to work on your weakness in order for you to have a good marriage with your spouse. You have to consistently put the work in. And I think God making us, creating us the way that He created us, plays into that a lot. That we have to understand that when you put the covenant together in marriage, that you have to work on the weaknesses. Like obviously, strengths, men are providers. We're going to provide. That's easy. That's what we do. Now, if you find a man that's not a provider, it's a problem for you. But we're protected. Most men are protected. So it's a normal aspect of what we do, and we're always going to do that no matter what because it comes natural to us. Now, the nurturing, the loving, that's something that even for me, with daughters, um, when you're a man and you have a daughter, you have to love you have to treat them a little bit differently. There's a love, there's a nurture. You can't just be pound all the time like you can with boys. Like you can get on your boys all day every day, but you get on your daughter, she might get emotional, right? And so we have to learn as men how to love, how to nurture. And that's part of love is the nurturing aspect, the understanding, right? Being in touch with one's feelings and with somebody else's feelings too. And be able to put those two things together as one. And so men, that's a weakness for us. And so God commanded us to work on our weakness when we're in marriage because women are good at it. And he also did that, and it's kind of funny. He also did it because you learn that from your spouse, right? You learn how to love your spouse from your spouse. You don't learn how to love your spouse from what you want to do. You learn how to love your spouse from your spouse. So you understand that your wife is great at nurturing and loving. So you take that nurturing and loving from her, you learn that from her, and you pour that back on top of her because she pours that on top of the kids. So you got to pour that on her to make sure that she has enough left in the tank because it just goes down from there. Now, respect. We could talk about respect. He commands wives to respect your husbands. Women aren't very good at respect. Like they value love more than they value respect, and that's okay. That's how we were created. Men, we're all about respect, man. Macho respect, yada yada yada. That's what you hear us say. That is ingrained in us. So now that's a weakness for females. So females have to learn that from their husband, right? And as their husband teaches their kids how to respect and how to be respectful to your parents, how to be polite, how to be thoughtful, how to listen, and then take advice from your mom, from your dad, how to speak properly. Those are respect things, right? Things that dads teach the kids. So we're pouring that into the kids. And so what God has commanded is okay, for the woman, hey, learn it from your husband and pour it back into him. Because as he's filtering out his tank, you're refilling his tank for him. And that's the way I see it. I think that he put that on us based on our weaknesses. And that's okay. I think that people get caught up in well, you got to submit and all this, and they think that that's like this horrible word, or oh, you husbands got to do this, so that's a horrible word. No, it's like at the end of the day, God knew what He was doing when He created us, right? He knew what He put in us. He knew the type of personality that we would have, right? Most men have the same personality. Most women have the same personality. Believe, operate in the same mindset, the same feelings. And so what happens is um, people get so caught up in what they are that they forget that there's the other person in a relationship, and you have to put some time in to understand that person. You have to put some time in to love that person properly, to be able to give that person what that person deserves, right? And so that's what it is. It essentially comes down to we're both working on our weaknesses together because we understand that the other's strength is my weakness. And that's the crazy thing about the marriage and the covenant and having a spouse is that their strength is your weakness, right? That's the way it's supposed to be. That's when you put a plug in and the lights come on, right? Like this light here that I have this pointing in my face. See, I got to plug it in for the so this light is built perfectly to exude light. Like light comes from it, but it don't work till you plug it in. It don't have electricity by itself, right? And so it has to be plugged into the source. So you plug into the source together because as men we have something, right? That is coveted, that's valuable to women. As women, they have something that's coveted and valuable to men. And so we have to plug into the source. And the source in a marriage is us together. There's a sense of togetherness that you have to have in order for you to be able to get and have a prosperous marriage. Most of the greatest marriages that I've talked to people, non-Christian and Christian, they are plugged in. Like you literally have two people that are the opposite, but when it's time to plug in, right, they could plug in. They could put the opposite things aside and come together and say, okay, I need to pour this into you and I need to pour this back into you. They get it, they understand it. And I think that's the key, honestly. And if you master that, there's nothing that you can't do, right? When it comes to a relationship, there's nothing that you can't do. And you will have a successful relationship if you can master that piece. This is GT the Vibe Podcast, so I appreciate you guys. Please like, subscribe, and share. We're coming back at you with episodes. See you.